we're still very much involved with irrigation, and we really are in trouble, aren't we?
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, especially ducking into winter. I mean, we really are sort of only a month or so away from what is, typically the winter months, June, July, August. We've got everybody in the last 7 to 10 days has had to irrigate. We suspect that might still happen again before we get to June. Particularly if we look at the weather pattern going out another 10 days or so, where we're going to have above average temperatures, below average rainfall. Well, actually, if you look out 10 days for the eastern parts of New Zealand, we're going to have very little in the way of rainfall. There's going to be another stack up again next week on the west coast. So yeah, look, we've got a problem. A problem, I guess, is that we're having to irrigate at times of the year where we don't normally expect to irrigate, but we're getting response because we're still growing.
Are people having to dig deeper bores?
Yeah, look, through Canterbury and especially in Canterbury, for example, not far out from Christchurch, we've got people with 30-metre bores that are struggling to get house water, and are going to have to put deeper bores in, probably go to 70, 80 metres to try and get a more reliable source of water.
Do they need a permit for that?
Yeah, they'll just be able to get a change of condition that allows them to drill deeper. I mean, they've already got a permit to take the water, and it's just basically informing Environment Canterbury that they're going to drill deeper because it's a permitted activity anyway. They're only taking the permitted activity, so that's not a big deal for them, but it's just the cost of doing it. I mean, to go down to 70 metres with a 100mm bore or an 80mm bore is still another 20 or 30 grand that you've got to find to do it. And if you go into parts of eastern Wairarapa, for example, the townships there are even struggling to get water. So that's a real issue, and eastern Wairarapa's absolutely grey. It's dead grass not even there. So it's grim there. It's grim in North Canterbury, and there's parts of south of here that are just in much the same place.
And it's certainly not over yet.
And it's not over yet. If you look out at the NIWA long-term forecast, for example, the next 2 or 3 months, they're expecting these weather conditions to continue, above average temperatures and below average rainfall on the east coast, particularly southern east coast of the North Island and this part of the east coast of the South Island, to remain pretty much the same.
Sucking water out of the ground is pretty expensive when you look at the electricity costs.
Well, it'll be hammering the budgets pretty hard, because we don't normally expect to be irrigating at this time of the year. And while we're not putting very much water on, that 10mm is still costing money, and depending on whether you're pulling from deep bores or shallow bores, there's still a cost associated with it. Much more when you're up the plains, of course, but that 10mm to put on in a couple of days under a centre pivot up the plains might cost you anything from about $500 to $1,500 to actually apply.
Now, NIWA is suggesting it's going to be a warmer and drier than normal, whatever normal may be.
Yeah, whatever the norm is, but I mean, basically we can expect, I mean, we all think about June and July as being some of the, heading into some of the cooler months of the year and getting some rainfall and maybe a snowfall or two. And if it's warm, of course, snow's probably not very likely, but I mean, it's the precipitation we need. I mean, we're really in a hole for dryland properties particularly.